Hi everybody, this is Bobby of Knitter's Niche. Welcome to my new subscribers and welcome back to my returning subscribers. Right now the time here is 3:40 p.m. We are on Eastern Time Zone in the United States. Get right to it. Let's talk about what I've been up to while I've been on vacation here, soon to be headed home. I am going to talk about my two completed objects. Both of these I talked a little bit about last episode. And I'm also going to be talking about, well, you can't really call it an acquisition, but I was gifted by Eweknit of Toronto. They gifted me a sweater's quantity worth of, it's a pattern that they have coming out. Well, actually it's out right now, Azucena. I believe that's how you pronounce it. And they gifted me the yarn. They contacted me and asked if I would participate in their knit along, and I said sure, I'd be happy to. And then they said, and we would be happy to gift you the yarn to make this sweater. So we're going to be talking about that. I had it delivered down here in Florida, down here in Naples. Let's get started. This is the Turtle Dove shawl, and I would say it's more of a shawlette, and it just turned out really, really nice. The only thing, and I'm going to tell you the truth about these patterns, the only thing I found with the way I knit it was the I-cord seems to be tight. And I think I might suggest just slipping the last 3 stitches on each side, and then that way, with the yarn in front, then that way you'll get a nice, even, smooth I-cord, because I had to really pull on this when I blocked it. I didn't have my pins here, but I had some safety pins and it worked, I guess. But you can see the widest point here at the bottom. Just going to straighten that out for you there. Isn't it beautiful? Of course, it's knit from end to end. And it has 3 different types of cables. Let me count them here. We have this cable, 1, 2, 3, actually 4. There's another one beginning, but it actually duplicates this this side, only you're coming to the point. It's very interesting how she got that point. And just to remind you of the name of this is the Turtle Dove Shawl, and it is by Sari, Nordlund. Well, I'll go ahead and put this on. I'm going to put the V in the front and see if I can get that. There we go. I'll try to keep the glare off my glasses. That's kind of been an issue here while I'm down here. It's not at home because I have really, up in my bonus room at home, I have some really great natural light up there. So this is it worn this way. It's so pretty. There is a right and wrong side, and you can really tell which it is. This is the right side with the cables, the bobbles. The bobbles were very, very easy. And I did mention on the last podcast that they were just a little bit floppy, I think. But I think it lends itself, if you can see here, to how the scarf needs to have a bit of a drape on it. It's really nice. And I did also suggest, and I mentioned it last podcast, that you should use a very fine fingering weight yarn along with your either Sari alpaca or real fine lace weight. or a lace weight in your mohair and silk, just straight mohair. You could be mohair merino. Merino, just make sure it's a lace weight put together. That way you're going to get a nice drape on it. This is beautiful. And I started it, I wrote it down here. I started this February 5th of 24, and I finished it March 14th of 24, and it was a bit of work. It's charted, and it also, I mean, it's good, it's worded and charted, but the whole thing isn't. The majority of it is charted, and there's actually 4 different sections to the chart, so there's quite a bit of work to it, but it's well worth it, well worth it. And there's just one size for this. So pretty. It's beautiful. So this is my first finished object, and you could, oh my goodness, you can wear it so many different ways. You could even wear it, and I don't look very good at this, probably because I just don't know how to do it, is wear it kind of like a bandana, I call it a bandana around your hair. That would be very cute, very cute. If my hair was longer, it'd probably look better. Otherwise, my hair sticks out like that. But this is very nice. It's so soft on my neck. I'll put here the yarn that I had used to knit this. I'll put a picture in here also so you can take a look at that. And the yarn itself actually was from Eweknit. You know what? It was yarn I had left over from yarn that they had given me for another item that I had knit for Eweknit in Toronto back. Probably, I'll have to look back and see. But I mentioned it before, it's the Florencia tee. I had yarn left over, and then I combined it with Rowan's yarn. I'll put a picture of it up here in a second. I'm kind of a little, I mean, I knew I wanted to film today, but I'm a little unprepared. I mean, I don't write everything down, and I don't sit here and memorize anything. I just kind of go with the flow. But I am a little less prepared than I normally am. So this is the first thing that I finished. Now the second thing that I had finished, I had just had a bit of the yoke done. I had the collar done. A bit of the yoke, which has some of the lace, is the Magnolia Bloom. In the Magnolia Bloom, and she has several different patterns with this motif in it. It's hanging up right behind me here. So let me go ahead and put this on, and we'll talk about that, because I'm going to also talk about the yarn that I had used to knit that with, and it is the local grown 100% wool, USA wool, by Lion brand. It's one of their newer yarns that they have out, and it is 100% wool. It does feel a little woolly, but I was really happy with how, when I washed it with Wool Wash, how it turned out. It really has a much nicer feel to it. I think if you were going to felt anything, like if you were to knit a bag and then felt it, this would be perfect for that. And I had bought this at Joann's, and I had mentioned that they had a special going on at the time. You buy 2 skeins of any Lion brand wool, or excuse me, any Lion brand yarn, and you got one free. And they also had this marked down to $9.99 a skein. So I ended up getting a sweater's quantity worth, and I didn't even come close to using that much. And I'll let you know how much I used of this too. So I ended up spending $39.96 for, how many was that? 6 skeins. And otherwise it would have been $100.94, I believe. Yes, $101.94. And I spent $39.96. So that was quite a bargain. Now Joann's, we do know something's going on with Joann's right now. I believe they filed for bankruptcy. I'm not sure if they're just restructuring their company and going to lean more toward online purchases. You know, you could purchase online, or if something else is going on. So I'm not sure. So if you want to just keep an eye, go on joanns.com and take a look at their Lion brand yarn. Right now, it's strange, but right now it's $12.90 some cents, I believe, per skein for this yarn. I checked earlier this morning. Like I said, it was $9.99 plus buy two get one free at the time when I bought this, probably a month and a half ago. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the Magnolia Bloom, and I'll put that on for you. And we'll discuss the pattern. I really enjoyed it. I know there's several of you who have knit this pattern, and I can see why. I really did enjoy it. So I'll be back just a second. Okay, I'm back. Here it is. Here's the Magnolia Bloom by Camilla. I knit it with the Lion Brand yarn, the local grown 100% USA wool yarn. It's a worsted weight. Now the pattern is to be knit with, well, you start off here. Okay, let's start off here. This is a folded over collar, and you use a size US 10 needle, which I believe is 6.0 millimeter, I believe. Size 10 needle, US needle. And then as you get down here, after you get this done, then you switch to the US 10.75. Well, I'm knitting along, and the last podcast, I was probably about right in through here, and I didn't change the needle. And I thought, do I want to rip this back? And I thought, well, no, let's do this. Let's just stay with the size 10, the US 10, and go ahead and finish all the lace pattern all the way through. Because I want to keep this as, I like the fabric I was getting for one thing. And I noticed on some of them, when you go onto Ravelry and look, some of them were very, loose, real loose right here, and the stitches weren't that defined. So I thought, I think I'm safe. So I went ahead and kept the US 10 needle all the way through to the lace was done, separated for sleeves, and then I did a 10.5, 10 and a half. US 10 and a half needle because I didn't have a 10.75, and really it worked out nice. I was knitting the size 2, or is it called a small? Might be small. The size 2, I didn't want a really loose, and I wasn't familiar with the yarn, so I thought, what am I going to get here? Is this going to work? So I went ahead and kept with the 10.5, and it worked out really nice. I'll show you the bottom here. I did do it a little bit longer because I wanted to tuck it in, so I'll show you how I do that in just a little bit here. The sleeves were actually, you go ahead and you don't do any, I think you do one decrease up in here, and then you come along and they tell you how many decreases to go around. You decrease evenly around all those stitches. Well, you know how I am with my sleeves. So I went ahead and decreased evenly, and here's my ratio that I did with these sleeves. I immediately went ahead and knit without decreasing. Well, I did decrease, one round as it said to in the pattern right off the bat, and then I knit 9 rows, and then I did my decrease, and the decrease on this one is knit 2 together, knit all the way around until 3 stitches before the end of round marker, and then slip, slip, knit, and knit 1. And then I knit 5 more rows, and then I did another decrease. 5 more rows, and the same decreases. 5 more rows, and the same decreases. Until right here, you can see the last decreases right in here. And then I decided to go ahead and start the 1x1 ribbing. And I wanted a longer ribbing on my wrist because I just think it looks nice with a longer ribbing on there. But I'll stand up in a little bit and show you what that looks like, the full view with what I have on. And that's it. That's it for the Magnolia Bloom. So what I'm doing also is saying goodbye to winter knits and hello to spring. However, the next thing I'm going to knit that I spoke to you about just a little bit ago is for I think it's pronounced Azucena. I hope that's how it is, but I'll check and see. The Azucena pullover, and it's by Claudia Quintanilla of Eweknit Toronto. And I've seen it. Actually, in my Instagram, I told you how you could get 50% off the pattern, and the way you can get 50% off the pattern through my channel is to look it up on Ravelry, go into Ravelry and then hit pay now, and you'll see a spot to put a code, and the code that you should put in there to get 50% off the pattern is Azucena niche with a K, and then you'll get 50% off. So let's take a look. I'm going to open the box here. I've already opened it and looked at it just to make sure I had everything that I needed, and I'm going to be knitting the small, and there's the box here. Came from Canada, and oh gosh, does it have the date on the outside of this? We really had a bit. They had sold so many kits of this particular pattern that they had more coming in, and she said you could either do Gepard, if we don't have the kits for Gepard, how about knitting for Olive? And I thought, you know, that would be wonderful, because I've never knit with knitting for Olive yarn. And also, this is going to be the first time that I'm knitting with mohair. I've never knit with mohair before. So the first thing I find when I open the box is this is adorable little bag that they had sent with it. Isn't that nice? It's a muslin bag, you knit, crafts, and fabrics. It's got a little sheep on there and a little sprigs of flowers on there. So I was very pleased to get that. And here it is. Now it's going to be a little crinkly. So what I'm going to do, let me turn this off real quick, and I'm going to go ahead and get this out of this bag so we don't have to listen to that noise. So just a second. Okay, I'm back. Here it is right next to me here. This is the Knitting for Olive Merino, and the color of this one is called Dusty Artichoke. Green in the past has never really been my favorite, but I'm really liking it now, and I think it kind of goes with the palette with the different sweaters that I knit. So that is the merino, and this, let me tell you a little bit about it. 100% extra fine merino, and there's 250 meters per 50 gram. This is a 50 gram. Here we go. You can take a look at the yarn. It's super, 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 super soft, and this is the Soft Silk Mohair, Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair. And I'm going to be holding that with the Knitting for Olive Merino. And this has 225 meters per 25 gram skein. So they sent me 5 of each of those. Now this is the main color for the sweater, and I'll put a picture up here of the Azucena sweater and a pullover, and then this is the contrasting color, and this is also Knitting for Olive. This is the Knitting for Olive Merino and Marzipan. And Marzipan, I would describe almost like, oh, I don't know, it almost has, it's hard to describe. It's more than a white. It's almost like I'm almost seeing gray and pink at the same time in it. It's hard to describe. It's a beautiful yarn. And the reason I chose this color, this Marzipan, I have seen other podcasters use that color, and I thought that's a fantastic neutral color work too. Wonderful, wonderful choice for that. And then here is the Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair. There's the mohair here. And you can see there's one strand of it. You can kind of see there. There you go. You can see the fuzz on that. Isn't it pretty? Now, this feels super soft. I have never knit with mohair, like I mentioned earlier. If the rest of you, if any of you have never knit with mohair, let me know. And then the ones that have, let me know if there's anything I need to watch out for while knitting with it. It's 70% mohair and 30% silk. It's called Soft Silk Mohair. So I'm going to go ahead and cast on with that. And there's a picture right here of the sweater. I didn't this year, didn't bring my printer. So I'm actually using my iPad and doing everything straight off my iPad. But, you know, I'm going to be heading home and in the car. So I think I'm probably going to have to stop at a Staples somewhere down here and get that pattern printed off, because I do want to be knitting this while I'm driving back. We're driving back home. It takes us a couple days to get home. What you're going to do is use both the Knitting for Olive Merino, and the Soft Silk Mohair by Knitting for Merino, and the Dusty Artichoke. So you're going to be using the two of these together, and then, which is considered yarn A. Yarn B is going to be actually your marzipan, is your contrasting color. But let's hold these together so we can take a look. Oh my gosh, this is just really going to be pretty. I'm trying to get the correct light here for you to see. This is going to be gorgeous. Just beautiful. So I will be starting, I'm probably, as soon as I'm done filming here, I'm going to cast that on, and I'll keep you up to date on that. Take a look. You'll go ahead and watch. I haven't put anything on Instagram yet, but I will definitely be putting a lot about this sweater, the Azucena sweater, pullover on Instagram. I'll be putting a lot of posts about that on there. So that's what I got my hands on here. You know, I also want to start a spring/summer weight knitted tee, and I might do the Tolsta tee by Rebecca of Crayabea. She's got a podcast also, and I had just bought her cabled pattern, which has a sweater, a pullover, a vest, a cardigan, and on each one of those there is your rounded basic rounded neck, like crew neck I suppose you'd say, and a v-neck on all three of those. It's all in the same pattern. I had just purchased that, so that might stay on hold for a while because I'm going to get the Azucena sweater done. So anyway, that's what I've been knitting, and that's what I'm going to knit, is the Azucena pullover. So what else would I like to talk to you about? You know what, in the future too, I had my eye, I was looking at Instagram and I saw a gorgeous, I mean gorgeous Vertices Unite. I have never seen one this pretty, and I think they're all amazing. I'm going to put a picture in here and let you see the one I saw on Instagram, and I'll have her name down here because I don't have it in front. Well, I'm using my phone right now. Love everything she knits because we just really have the same fashion aesthetic also. Love it. Okay, well, I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to stand up and we'll let you take a look at the Magnolia Bloom, how it looks like when I'm moving around, and see what I'm wearing with it. Be right back. Okay, here's the Magnolia Bloom by Camilla Vaude. It has an all over lace with baubles work on the, I can't think of the name of it. Oh, for heaven's sake, on the yoke of the sweater. Long sleeve sweater. Again, in the pattern, it has more of a little bit of a balloon, but it's not real big though. It's nice, it's tasteful. So there was no decreases, just right off the bat there was no decreases. And then several, it tells you how to evenly decrease against all of these stitches that are on your needle. I went ahead and did decreases, and then I decided to go ahead and do the longer cuff. It's a knit one, purl one cuff along the bottom. Now, I cast off the bind off that I used on the bottom is Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off. But what I did the same thing that I had done on my Lagam sweater that I talked about last podcast. I cast off, let's see, how do I want to say this? Knit-wise, I didn't do in pattern. I didn't do cast off knit and then a cast off purl. I did cast off knit all the way around. And you know what? Hang on. That's what I did here. I did here. So it had a lower profile. Okay, that is Jenny's surprisingly stretchy bind off also, but I just did it all in knit all the way around. Now this, the bottom, I did knit one, purl one bind off. So it's nice and stretchy. It did call for, no, okay, wait a minute. This pattern did not call for a specific bind off. It basically said just, you know, whichever bind off you like to use your favorite bind off. And again, I love this folded over collar because you just got the stitches just rolling over and it looks very nice. And this yarn, y'all, local grown, lime brand wool. I would recommend this. I wanted to critique this for everyone. I did mention it before, but you know what? I would try this. It's a worsted weight. So any of those worsted weight sweaters, scarves, whatever would be perfect, would be just perfect. But I guarantee you, I know this would felt too. So if you want to felt something, make a purse and felt it, whatever you might felt, this yarn would be great for that. So again, I'll let you take a look at the back here. See? And I want to show this side too. Because I do have a mistake back there, if any of you can spot it. And you know, I didn't notice it till, oh goodness, I was probably down and through here, but I did notice a mistake. It's either this side right in here, or it's this side over here. Let me get my notes and I'm gonna tell you exactly what yardage I'd use, and you're gonna be really surprised how little, not very many skeins, made this amazing sweater at such an economical price. And I love the yarn. Okay, hang on. Okay, I used, the amount of yards I used to make this sweater out of worsted weight yarn was 521 yards. And here's how much I had left. Here we go again, sorry. And this is how much I had left, this right here. And that is just barely over 20 grams right here. So that would actually be around 37 yards left of that. But isn't that amazing that I can make this sweater with not even 3 skeins. It wasn't even 3 skeins that I used, just under 3 skeins. No. Hang on. Yeah, no. It was just under 3 skeins of yarn. This is, again, y'all know that I have issues with things itching me. This barely does. And you know, when I'm here in Florida, which, you know, the heat should really bother me, although I'm in air conditioning right now. But yeah, this is so nice. And I did knit it longer than it said to. And I blocked it. I have my wool wash here. I didn't have my pins. And like I said earlier about the other sweater that I had knit. But it's just, I just love it. I love it. Isn't it nice? It's really nice. I'm so happy with it. Now, I did have to set it aside, and that's when I knit the, here, I'll tuck it in the middle. I had knit my scarf. Let me grab that, the turtle dove. And I had knit the turtle dove scarf. I had started this and I thought, oh my gosh, I was getting so used to this beautiful soft yarn, which this was 50% cotton and 50% merino, and along with some alpaca. Was it alpaca? Sari, with Sari alpaca. Sari alpaca is the fuzz that I have in here. I call it fuzz. The fuzz I have in here that I used with the half merino and half cotton yarn. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead, take this off, put this back on, and just let you take a look at it while I have it on. Okay, everybody, here's another look at the Sari Nordlund Turtle Dove shawlette. I call it shawlette. It's called the shawl, actually. And it is worn with a lounge outfit that I'm wearing. It's so nice, and it's cozy. The yarn is soft. The design is beautiful. I think probably you could make it longer if you just did a wider repeat in through here with a point. I'm not sure. What I would do is go on to Ravelry and see if anybody else has done any modifications to make it a little bit longer. Or if you want a bigger one, I would say you can use 2 regular fingering weight yarns together, because I have a very thin, fine fingering weight yarn and lace combined for this particular one I had knit. I'm headed back home near Huntsville, Alabama. Oh gosh, really soon here. So I'm looking forward to seeing y'all back home, taking a look at my yard, my flowers that are going to be blooming, my crepe myrtles that are going to be blooming, my trees, also my hydrangeas. Oh my gosh, do you remember my hydrangeas? Remember how big they were? Just big fluffy flower heads, just gorgeous, that change color from actually from white to green and then to mauve. I cannot wait to see them start blooming. You know, spring is here. So, all right, here we go. Goodbye to winter. You know, I love my winter knits. Goodbye to my my winter knits, and hello spring. And again, I'm going to be starting my Azucena Pullover by Claudia Quintanilla of Eweknit of Toronto. And the code for you to get it 50% off, remember when you go to Ravelry to make your purchase, go where it says coupon and use the coupon code Azucena. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I'll put it down here, Azucena Niche. And I'll put that down below so you know exactly how to type in that code to get 50% off. Again, be looking for me on Instagram. I'm really going to be getting going with that again now that my vacation's done. We're going to have the Azucena Pullover on there, on my beautiful yarn from Eweknit of Toronto. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate that. Knitting for Olive, a brand new yarn for me, brand new pattern. So I'm looking forward to it. Listen, go out there and knit today. And we'll see you next time. See you back home. Bye-bye.